right, Joel, welcome to this edition of Hockey Talk. This edition of Hockey Talk is going to be something that's very real and very concerning that's taking place currently between Canada and the United States. And if you all been watching the national news as of lately, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And if I was Gary Bettman, the commissioner of the National Hockey League, and Bob Daly, the deputy commissioner of the National Hockey League, I'd be seriously listening to what I have to say here because most people across Canada and the U.S. are basically going to agree with this significantly. With the tensions between Canada and the United States of America, with President Donald Trump threatening Tariffs, which was paused for 30 days because of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's proposal, including the Canadians all around the country of Canada, Donald Trump had proposed a 25% tariff in the direction of Canada, thinking that Canada's borders are at risk, when in fact, it's quite well. But when you get somebody in office who doesn't see it that way, when they're getting all their facts and information wrong, things can turn quite scary when you get the wrong people in power when they're considering threatening measures in the direction of a country that's sitting there scratching their head trying to figure out what this individual's talking about. And I'm referring to President Donald Trump. As in Canada turn around and re-engage the United States with the exact same tariffs at 25%, but a little more steeper consequences. And President Trump had made threats about Canada being the 51st state of the United States of America, which got a lot of people angry. And then top it off, here's President Trump going around the world, Russia, China, the UK, making turf threats all around the world, which got a lot of countries on the edge of a possible Third World War in the direction of the United States. And with this foreign nations is about to take place here, and I believe the first game here is Wednesday, February 12th. Then the following game is Thursday, February 13th. The next game after that, the third game, will be Saturday, February 15th. And then Monday, February 17th. And the last game, which will be the championship game, will be Thursday, February 20th. If I was Gary Bettman, if I was Bob Daly, head of the National Hockey League, I will be taking very serious consideration of canceling this Four Nations tournament because of the unfortunate measures with Donald Trump, how he's ruining everything for a lot of people. And where the Canadian arenas, everywhere where the American teams are playing, the Canadian teams are being booed significantly. And it's not only the NHL, it's the NBA, other venues besides hockey and basketball. The American anthems being booed stronger and stronger and stronger no matter where they go. And here's the thing. What needs to happen is, this is my opinion, what Gary Bettman should be doing is that he should be taking a serious look at not only making the unfortunate decision to cancel the Four Nations Championship, but look at making drastic changes with the National Hockey League, either by looking at canceling the remainder of the season or having the American teams only play the American teams in the United States and the Canadian teams play the Canadian teams in Canada only, possibly doing what they did during the pandemic, only have the teams cross the Canada-US border during the playoff, the Stanley Cup Finals only, or, like what I said, but during the pandemic, had the Stanley Cup awarded twice, the first time ever. One for the Canadian team, and the second one for the American teams. You could call it a shared Stanley Cup champions. But basically what's happening is, if I was Gary Bettman, I'd be watching this turf war very closely. And basically, he's going to be asking the exact same question what I'm going to ask. Is Canada and the U.S. going to go to war? Yes or no? We don't know that. Was Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on the phone with the NATO forces, getting ready to bring NATO across the ocean, have a standoff between Canada and the U.S. at the border? Are they going to have a war in Alberta? Is the war going to be in the United States? We don't know, but these are very real questions that has to be asked because of the wrong people being elected, like I've been saying many times on various videos like I did in the past, people just don't get it when they're electing the wrong people in office that puts themselves, their lives, and their livelihoods at risk. And now, guess what? Your very sovereignty, your very right to freedom is being threatened by a madman who's been elected, who should never have been elected in the first place. And here's Canada continuing to elect these problematic people in office over and over and over again, when the only thing with these political parties been proven to be was a threat to your livelihoods and to your very charter of democracy. Pierre Poilievre is no different than Stephen Harper. He's worse. He's arrogant. Neither Justin Trudeau or Pierre Poilievre should not be there. It should be Doug Ford. I said this before. Doug Ford should not be running in this provincial election there in Ontario. He should not be the Premier of Ontario. He should be either leader of the Liberal Party of Canada or the Conservative Party of Canada, one or the other. And Doug Ford should be the new Prime Minister of Canada, and not wasting his time down there in Ontario, being the Premier of Ontario. That's a waste of time because Doug Ford belongs in the Prime Minister's office in Ottawa. And lo and behold, here we are with Canada and U.S. ready to stand off. And here's the other thing that gets me bubbling, gets me mad. Don't the press go to hockey players, American hockey players like Austin Matthews, put them right on the hot seat. You're playing for a Canadian team, you're American, here's Canada and U.S. ready to go to battle. Asking Austin Matthews all these crazy questions, his thoughts of it, Gary Bettman, you got to step up to the plate. You got to protect your American players when they're over in Canada, and you got to protect the Canadian players when they're down in the United States, so they're not put on the hot seat like that, so they're not humiliated, embarrassed like that, because there's what Austin Matthews, what if I say the wrong thing, they're going to chase me out of here. They're going to chase me out of the Scotiabank Arena, or they're going to chase me right out of the country of Canada. Yeah, they will. And I'm telling you, Gary Bettman has to watch his players when they're playing in these foreign countries for the time being, because this is why I've been saying the American team should be playing the American teams only for the remainder of this season, and the Canadian team should be playing the Canadian teams only, and possibly have the Stanley Cup hoisted twice in 1 year. It's the only way to keep the peace and the sanity for the time being. So, what we see here with these four nations, if I was Gary Bettman, if I was the commissioner of the National Hockey League, I'd be making the ultimate decision of canceling the tournament. And first, I can stand right here. This is on Saturday, February 15th. There will be a fan festival of the Four Nations tournament held in Montreal, which is another concern. Now you're going to have all the American fans from the National Hockey League crossing the Canada-U.S. border, which should not be happening. Keep them out, keep them back for the time being, so they don't get hurt. Because you're going to have Canadian fans are going to resent the American fans coming up to Canada, voicing their opinions on this, and it's going to get hot and it's going to get heated. I'm telling you. You could see people getting killed or seriously hurt here, and I'm telling Gary Bettman the best thing that you should do is cancel this event as soon as possible. And then you got another Four Nations fan village in Boston, a fan festival. So again, Saturday, February the 15th, and Monday, February 17th, from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Here's the thing. Again, Gary Bettman should be canceling these events, because now you're going to have Canadian fans going to Boston. Shut it down so the sanity can be kept in place, because you people elected the wrong people to be running your two countries, Canada and the U.S., and it's been going on for the longest time, and it's been a problem for years until finally it reaches boiling point. And I'm telling you, people should not be put at risk because of this. And this is exactly what's going to happen. I'm not saying this to be, a thorn in the fans' hockey in their side, the hockey fans' side. I'm not saying this to go there and flip off Gary Bettman. I'm telling you, this is the real thing, and we have to take serious consideration. And my advice to hockey fans is who attends to attend these events, try to see if you can get your money back. If you're Gary Bettman, if you're listening to me, try to give your fans their money back if you can. Cancel the whole thing. Wait till this issue with the United States and Canada has been resolved, which I think it will be over time, but it won't be until at least 4 years while Trump's still in the president's office in the White House. When that ends, and when you top it off, Gary Bettman, he's right in there with Trump. He's due to retire. He said in a couple of years, he's been released on the press, a couple of years, Commissioner Gary Bettman will retire. Now, here's the thing. It's been American hockey teams that have been winning the Stanley Cup since 1994 and onward. They'll let the odd Canadian team enter the playoffs, the Stanley Cup finals, but hey, you can't win the Stanley Cup. That's part of the problem. We have to have a Canadian team win the Stanley Cup. And I'm not talking about the Montreal Canadiens here, year after year after year. I mean somebody different like Edmonton, Calgary, or even Vancouver. Look at Vancouver. There's a good team. Toronto, well, I don't know what to tell them. Toronto, that's a team that Bettman should be seriously be looking at. How can the richest team in the National Hockey League be the least talented team and not win anything? When I see the Toronto Maple Leafs, you know what they remind me of? A bunch of boys on the ice. They're not there to win the hockey games. They're not there to win the Stanley Cup. They're there for their Sonic commercials. They're on the ice to look cute. They're not there to take the game seriously. Toronto Maple Leafs is nowhere near where they used to be back in 1992, from 1993 right to 94, 5, and 96. They're nowhere near in the Toronto Maple Leafs category where they were back in the mid-90s. Nowhere near. Imagine players like Wendell Clark on the ice, and they look at people like Austin Matthews or William Nylander. He's probably sitting back, killing himself, laughing, looking at the talent that the Toronto Maple Leafs has. The Toronto Maple Leafs don't even have a reasonable goalie. They got that, what's his name, that Mark Murray. Is it Mark Murray or is it Jason Murray? I think it's Mark Murray. But anyways, he should have been traded off. Get something for him. They got no goaltender at all. They got this, I don't know where they got this other goalie, that Wall or something. I don't know where he came from. I think he came from the Marlies, but they got the only good player that the Toronto Maple Leafs got that I like is Ryan Reeves. Good heart fighter. He reminds me of Wendell Clark and Ty Domi put in one. That's what Ryan Reeves reminds me of. And that's what the Toronto Maple Leafs needs. And don't go making one of those stupid trades like they do all the time. The time they trade Steve Thomas off to the Chicago Blackhawks for basically nobody at all. Keep Ryan Reeves there. You need him. Keep all your players that commits themselves to the Toronto Maple Leafs Hockey Club on the ice during game time. People like, what's his name there, Nylander. It wasn't that stupid when they brought his brother in, Alex, trying to look cute. It's a good thing they sent him on his way. They keep him around because that would have been something. But that just goes to show you that they're willing to stick with William Nylander no matter how bad of a plays he makes on the ice, how lack of committed he is to the team. They're willing to stick to him. In my opinion, Brendan Shanahan's going to get the hook here. And he should get the hook, because what we see on the ice at the Toronto Maple Leafs is not acceptable. And like one of the owners from Rogers stated that the Toronto Maple Leafs, he said, we're not here to sell T-shirts. We're here to win the Stanley Cup. Well, for what we've seen, the only thing that Toronto Maple Leafs are good for is their Sonic commercials and posing for these TV ads, because they're not worth keeping around. I seriously look at getting rid of breaking off Matthews' contract and send him on his way, because he's no good with the Toronto Maple Leafs Hockey Club if you know. But anyways, I'm going to end this segment of Hockey Talk. Gary Bettman, if you're watching, you have to make a drastic decision with this Four Nations tournament that's taking place in Montreal and in Boston. And you have to decide, what are we going to do? See, you got Canada versus Sweden. You got Canada versus Finland. Finland versus Sweden. U.S. on Saturday, February 15th. Canada versus U.S. That's going to be a concern. Then Saturday, February 15th, you got that fan fest. And then you got Finland versus Sweden. Monday, February 17th, Canada versus Finland. Then you got Sweden versus the U.S. This Saturday, February 20th, you get your championship game. Trust me when I say this, Gary, it's best for you to cancel this tournament so the peace is kept, so the sanity's kept. So, and because of President Bush, Donald Trump, you got to do what you got to do. And I think, and my advice to you, Gary, I would seriously, if I was a commissioner of the National Hockey League, I cancel this event for the time being until at least Trump's out of office, at least, or just, you know what, just change around the hell. We'll just have an all-star game and go that route. But I would not have the Canadian fans crossing the Canada-U.S. border to attend this event, and or have the American and Canadian players cross back and forth from the Canada-U.S. border, because it could create a lot of friction for the time being, and you got to ensure their safety while they're in these arenas, while they're doing their games. So because of that, I would make the unfortunate decision to cancel the Four Nations tournament, and I would seriously look at making the unfortunate decision of canceling the remainder of the 2025 NHL regular season and see what comes out of it. Or have another hockey playoffs during the summer. But anyways, my name's Adam Conrod, and that's what I have to say about this, and I thank you for joining this edition of Hockey Talk.